Hi, my name is Chana Schiff and welcome to the Kosher Aliyah Cooking Network, the place where we can visually exchange ideas and recipes on how to recreate our homemade taste while living in Israel. Today I'm getting into Rosh Hashanah mode. Rosh Hashanah is quickly approaching, it's about 2 weeks away, and what better way to start than with an apple cake. So today I'm going to share a recipe I've had for many years. I originally got it from my friend Rivka Althouse Sanders in New York, and I've been using it ever since. Number one, it's very easy. Number two, it makes the house smell fantastic. Number three, it tastes even better. Number four, it really freezes very well. And most importantly for our purposes here, it's a very Israel-friendly recipe. It is a batter based on oil, not on margarine, so there's no need for the margarine substitution, guessing, or anything like that. It's very straightforward. So let's get started. The first thing we're going to be using is a plain white flour, kemach chita lavan. And as mentioned previously in some of my other videos, I pre-sift my flour and I keep it stored in my freezer. Here it is in my bag. I keep it in there to keep it fresh and also to keep it bug-free. But most importantly, I have a video down below if you want to look on how to sift your flour using a very quick method with a hand sifter. So check it out. It'll make your life a lot easier. Or of course you can use an electric sifter, which makes things much easier as well. Second thing we're going to be using is regular white sugar, sukar lavan. As I mentioned before as well, some of the sugar, the granulation, is a little bit larger than what you're used to in America. You have different companies make a little finer granulation. It really depends on which one they have in the supermarket that day. Sometimes a hit or miss, but you'll get used to it. Sometimes I've heard people put it into their processor to make it a little finer. I don't go that far, but you will find certain companies that you like using a little bit better. Okay? We're also going to be using basic canola oil, shemen canola. Be careful when you look on the shelves that it's not soya. They're basically packaged the same exact way, and I've made many mistakes buying the wrong oil. So just be careful that you buy shemen canola and not shemen soya. We're also going to be using regular salt, plain regular table salt. Also, I'm going to be using some cinnamon. I apologize, this is one of my American containers that I have. I've had it for many, many years. I find that I buy the packaged cinnamon. This is not cinnamon, this is actually a different spice. I just want to show you what it looks like. It comes, you can get it in a bag, and it says cinnamon on it, cinnamon, and I just buy a package and I pour it into my containers to keep it nice and fresh. So I apologize, I kind of did that before. But it is a package, it looks just like this, and it says cinnamon on it. Also, we're going to be using orange juice. This is not fresh orange juice. You can use fresh orange juice. Of course, when you use fresh, everything tastes better. But for easier recipe and for a quick recipe, I have this store-bought spring orange juice. You can also use mango juice. Each one of them adds a nice flavor. And of course, we have vanilla. This is my American vanilla, and this is my Israeli vanilla. This is still my one vice. I do like to use Israeli ingredients as much as possible, but I'm a little bit sensitive when it comes to baking with my vanilla. So I try as much as possible to use the Israeli kind, but sometimes I find that I have to use my Israeli, especially for my chocolate chip cookies. But for this recipe, I find that the Israeli vanilla works just as well. Also, just keep in mind when you make cakes for other people in your neighborhood, some people are very sensitive to the American hashgachot, and they don't hold by them. So the Israeli vanillas are usually badats. The hashgacha is fine for usually everybody, so just be sensitive to the people that you're making it for. Okay. I'm also going to be using Afia, which is baking powder. You'll find the most popular way that you find it in the stores is in these packages. It comes in a package, I think, about 10. And each package is about 2.5 teaspoons. It really depends on the company. It's about 2.5 teaspoons. Okay, and we're also going to be using apples. The red ones. Green ones don't really add great flavor to the cake. They make them taste pretty sour. You want to use a red apple. I think these are Hermon, Gala, any kind of red apples that you find in the supermarket will work just fine for this recipe. Also, I'm going to be using a regular pan, 9x13 pan, a lasagna pan. I'm going to line it with Niyar Afia, which is baking paper. And I just wanted to make note that when you make the cake, it's a very thick batter. And you're going to be putting one base of batter, then the apples, and then more batter on top. I find that this pan works the best for it. If you make it in a smaller pan, the inside does not cook as well. It gets very mushy inside, and it's very thick, like I mentioned, so it doesn't really cook so great. So the best way to do it is in a pan like this, or better yet, if you want to split it in half, you can split it in half and do like 2 loaf pans or 3 loaf pans, depending on the height of the pan, and you can split the batter in half. But if you're using a full batter, make sure to use a pan at least of this size. Okay? And of course, one more thing that I forgot to mention, I'm sorry, there are eggs in this recipe, using medium-sized eggs. As I've always mentioned, I always remind everybody, there's red ink on top of the eggs here. someone needs to talk to the Department of Agriculture and ask them to change the ink to perhaps black or green so that you don't crack your eggs and there's a blood spot in them every single time you crack them, which I did for the first 6 months that we were here. It took me that long to figure out that it was the ink running into the eggs and not blood spots. So just be careful. So when you crack your eggs, always try to put the red ink on top and crack it this way so that the ink does not go into your cup. Okay? So now we're going to show you how we're going to put together the ink. Just a note, if you take a look at the right side of the video, you'll see a listing of ingredients, the amounts that I used, and also the procedures, just to make it a little easier for you to follow along. Okay, so far I have mixed together my dry ingredients. That's my flour, my sugar, my baking powder, and my salt. And I'm going to make a well in the center where I'm going to put all the wet ingredients. Okay, so now I've added in all the wet ingredients, excluding the apples and the cinnamon, which I will talk about in a moment. And as you can see, the batter is very thick, like I mentioned earlier. Okay, and I'm going to put it to the side. I'm going to preheat my oven to 350 degrees, which is about 175, 180 degrees Celsius. And I'm going to get started cutting my apples. Okay, I'll show you how that looks in just a moment. Okay, so I've sliced my apples. This is just a little bit of them. And I'm going to put them into, you see they're nice and sliced, very thin. I'm going to put them into my bowl. Okay, and I'm going to add cinnamon, a tablespoon of cinnamon to the mixture, and also 3 tablespoons of sugar. I'm going to mix it all together until all the apples are completely coated, as you see. Okay, and then we're going to start lining the pan with the batter. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put half of the batter into the pan. I'll show you what it's going to look like. I told you before, it's very, very thick. So I find the best way to do it is kind of just to like make dollops of it into the pan. As you can see, I'm going to show you in a moment. Okay, take half the batter. Okay, you see here it is, just one big whole bunch over here. My pan is lined with my baking paper, and I'm just going to spread it in until the whole bottom is covered. Okay, as you can see, as I spread it, I hold the baking paper with my finger so that it doesn't slide all over the place, and it just continues to spread it around. As you can see, I'm doing like this, and here it looks like the whole pan is filled, the bottom part. I'm going to take the apples and spread them in as well. Okay, so that they cover the surface of the base. And then I'm going to go ahead and use the rest of the batter and put it on top. Now this batter, like I said, is not pourable. You just kind of do little dollops. And then you spread it the best that you can. It will not cover the whole thing, most probably not. So, but that's fine, because it's nice to have apples peeking out of your apple cake. So it looks nice and authentic. Okay, and you just cover as much as you can, and you spread it as best as you can. I'm going to show you how that looks in just a moment. It may help to go ahead and use a spatula to go ahead and spread the rest of it. So here you go, it's all spread on top. As you see, there are some apples that are peeking out of the sides and on the top, which is fine. It is a little bit difficult to spread, so I do suggest that using a spatula. It helps the spreading process. I'm going to put it in the oven now to bake it. The cake is going to bake for about an hour to an hour and a quarter, depending on your oven. 350 degree, 180 degrees Celsius oven. And I do find sometimes that the top gets brown before that time is up. So I do sometimes tend to cover it with aluminum foil, just loosely on top of it, so that the top doesn't brown anymore and the rest of the cake cooks. Because I mentioned, like I said, it's a very thick batter. You want to make sure it cooks through. Anyway, when you take it out of the oven, you want to make sure that it's nice and firm and it's not wiggly anymore. And I'm going to show you how it's going to look in about an hour and a quarter. I wish you could smell through the screen. It smells great already. Even my baby's talking about it. And I'll be back to show you how it looks just actually about an hour and a quarter. Okay, so I've taken the cake out of the oven. As you can see, the top is nice and brown. Put a toothpick in the center. Comes out nice and clean. Means that the inside is nice and cooked. And I'm going to let it cool off a bit and slice it and show you how it's going to look all nice and sliced up. Okay, it smells really great. Okay, so I've sliced up the cake. It looks really great. You can probably see some of the steam still coming out of it. I'll be honest with you, I tasted both the cakes, one with the American vanilla and one with the Israeli vanilla. The American vanilla tastes a little bit, I like it a little bit better, although the Israeli one's pretty good as well. But I hope that you enjoy it. I hope it makes your house smell like Rosh Hashanah is coming. I hope it sweetens your year, gets it off to a good start. And if you don't mind, if you like this video and your cake comes out great, please make sure to like it. Please make sure to tell your friends. Please make sure to like the video. Please tell some of your friends to send in their recipes. Remember, the network can only be as strong as the recipes that are sent in to us. How do you make your apple cake? What other cakes do you make for Rosh Hashanah? Your honey cakes, your gefilte fish, anything to go ahead and enhance someone else's yontif here in Israel. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed and look forward to sharing many new recipes in this happy new year. Thank you. Ready? Okay, so as my daughter was stealing some of the cake from the plate. Is it good, Racheli?
Yeah.
Yeah? I remember to remind you that if you want to send your video to us on how you make your apple cake, don't forget to check out the button below, which shows you how to send it to us via wheat transfer. It'll describe to you how to do the procedure. It's very quick. It might take a bit of time to send it over, but the whole procedure itself is very, very quick. But please share your culinary accomplishments with us. Let us know how you do it, how you make your home filled with Rosh Hashanah aromas right before the Chag.
Shana Tova.